I really didn't like myself for most of my life. And when I stopped saying and thinking these three things, it literally forced me to become a more confident person, to act in a more powerful way. And it triggered then all these other positive changes in my life. Like, literally everything that I wanted to happen in my life started to happen once I made this change. So in this video, I'm going to explain what those three phrases are and how removing them led me to not only getting out of the 9 to 5 rat race, which to be honest, I was never a big fan of in the first place. It's also led to me getting in the best physical shape I've ever been in. It led to me coming together with my best friend of 15 years, and we're now engaged and planning our wedding. I dove into entrepreneurship and have some months more than quadrupled the amount of money I was making in corporate. I've traveled to Europe, Asia, across the US, Canada. I've been all over the place. And literally none of those things would have happened if I kept thinking these three thoughts. I can't, I don't have time, and I don't want to be greedy. Honestly, I just think can't is a really weak word. Because for me, whenever I would say that I can't do something, what I'm almost always actually saying is, I don't want to try. I remember when I lost my first corporate job, I really didn't want to get another one. Like, I didn't want to go back to another 9 to 5 setting, but I just told myself that I had no choice. I was like, I can't not get another job. And if I had applied this advice back then and taken can't out of my vocabulary, I would have had to acknowledge what was actually going on, which was I was just being weak. I was complaining about what I didn't want to do, but disregarding the fact that I did have a choice. I could have chosen to not get another 9 to 5 job, but I was too fucking scared to. I think that when you stop saying can't, it forces you to own your decisions, and it forces you to acknowledge that you do actually have way more control than you pretend to have. The second one is saying I don't have time. And it's kind of similar to can't in that it's just us avoiding ownership, and it's really just not genuine. Because anytime I would say to somebody that I don't have time for something, that's not what I actually meant. What I usually probably meant was, I don't feel like this is a priority right now. I don't genuinely feel interested in doing this. I'm not in the mood to do this. So we kind of just sum it up as I don't have time, but that's such a passive statement because that's basically you saying, I have no control over where my time goes. You're basically saying what's easy instead of what's true. And making this language change just forced me to say what I actually meant and not lie about things that I just didn't want to commit to. It kind of like constantly reminds you that you have way more power in your life than you even give yourself credit for. And it makes you have to own it, because where my time goes is not a decision that anybody else forces on me. I choose every single thing that I give my time to. And if I'm unhappy with my life, then maybe I need to stop being too scared or too lazy to change something about the way I'm spending my time. And then the third one is I don't want to be greedy. And I think for me, for most of my life, I honestly perceived rich people as greedy. Like, I can think of so many movies growing up where the villain is a wealthy person. 101 Dalmatians, Titanic, Superman, Spider-Man, Ebenezer Scrooge. It just seems like wealthy people are often portrayed very negatively. And this is something that now I hear from people all the time when I do sales calls, because I always ask people, like, what would you like to make in a month? And people are very quick to say things like, oh, I don't want to be greedy. I just want to make enough to like get by and be comfortable. And I think that people think that this is a safe answer, like they're not going to offend anybody by saying this. But if you only ever make enough to be comfortable and to take care of yourself, then how are you ever going to be able to help other people? How are you ever going to be able to provide for other people? How are you ever going to impact other people if you're only ever making enough to just take care of you? Isn't that actually like the most greedy way to think about it? Honestly, I want to live a really rich life. I want to be able to travel whenever I want and stay in dope places like this. I want to be able to provide for my family and bring them to cool places with me. I want to build a food forest with Alex and welcome other people in the community to come and eat from it. I want wealthy and rich experiences, and I want to be able to impact other people with my wealth. And I just kind of realized that if I ever want that to be a reality for me, I need to be willing to say it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to step on other people to get there and like hoard all the riches to myself. So by stopping saying things like, I don't want to be greedy, I kind of just force myself to not care if people choose to judge me for saying that I want to make a lot of money. Because here's the thing, you are the only person that you are going to spend every single second of the rest of your life with. So your internal language and the kind of words that you allow yourself to even think fucking matter. And I'm not like a mindset coach. I'm not here to preach to anybody in any way. These are just things that I actually implemented in my life and actually worked for me. Similar to the confidence hack video that I posted a couple months ago, that video was one of the best videos I ever did because it was just me being real about the confidence tip that I changed that really worked for me. These tiny little habits that you implement are the ones that make the biggest changes. So, of all the different self improvement things I've tried, this is the one that I honestly wish everybody would try. Just try to commit to it for 30 days. You're probably going to notice that your thought patterns change. You're probably going to feel more confident and more powerful in your decisions. And you're probably going to see way more progress because it kind of forces you to stop making excuses. So I honestly hope that somebody will comment below, tell me that today is day 1 for you, and then come back on day 30 and just tell me like what you noticed. If you notice that you think differently, that you act differently, maybe other people will notice things in you, and you'll never want to go back because you'll realize what weak thoughts these phrases are and how they're not serving you in anything you're trying to do. You're only ever that you say to yourself